Good morning, students, and welcome to the presentation of the subject Teaching and Assessment Mentoring B, TMB22. My name is Mr. Thaddeus Shikukuma, and I will take you through the presentation this morning. First of all, before we go into detail or before we begin with the presentation in full, I would like to bring to your attention the verbs, the action verbs. The action verbs helps us, or they help us to understand what is expected from us, or what is expected from you. So we use the action verbs in order to construct the questions in the question for exam or for assignments. So therefore it's very necessary for you to understand the meaning of the verbs that are utilized to construct a sentence, to construct the questions. It will be easier for you to deal with all the questions once you have a clear understanding of each verb. So the verbs are very important for you to know and understand them. Let's look at the first one, for example, analyze. If I put a question up to say analyze, what are you expected to do? You are expected to examine information in detail. So that's what it means to analyze. Calculate, should it come, which is not very common for us to ask calculate, because calculate has to do with numbers. But should it come, it means what you should do, you should give a numerical answer from given figures. Comment. If the question requires to comment, what are you doing? You discuss briefly by giving positive and negative points. That's what it means. Discuss briefly by giving positive and negative points. Compare. What does it mean? First of all, you need to know the differences and similarities before you come to the conclusion. That's what it means. It means draw conclusion about the similarities and differences. So that's what it means to compare. So most of the time, if you are comparing, you are given two things, and then you see this one, these are the similarities, and these are the differences on this one. So there are always two items. Contrast. Contrast, simply you only look at similarities. While if the question asks you to criticize, so what you are doing, you give reasonable judgment about, or after weighing the facts. First of all, you weigh the facts, and then is when you come to the conclusion. Okay, this is it. You give now the reasonable judgment based on the conclusion that you have reached. Deduce. Use the information in order to reach to the conclusion or to conclude. Define, and define the word, the action verb define. It's always there. It's always in a question paper. So what does it mean? You give the precise, brief meaning and features. Remember, it says brief. You don't have to expand it more. It says brief. Demonstrate. When you are demonstrating, you are showing by examples. While if the question requires you to describe, you provide detailed features for and against. Determine. Use provided information to work out the answer. You are using the provided information in order to reach to the conclusion. Distinguish. Distinguish, here you are given two phenomena, and then you are trying to give differences of the two. Okay. Estimate. Give the impact of something. As simple as that. Evaluate. Determine the value of something as per set criteria. While explain is also one of the my favorite verb, because it's always there in exam. Describe by indicating relationships between things. So you are giving the description. Find is very straight and very simple, because it says calculate, measure, or determine. While identify, what do? Recognize a name. Recognize a name. As simple as that. Illustrate. Describe with examples. Interpret. Describe something, explain the meaning of graphical information. So you are trying to give the interpretation. Okay. Examine, identify detailed features of something. While listing, if the question has required you or asked you to list, you are simply giving names, it's very, very simple. No details, just list. While outlining, you give an overview and indicate the main features. So you are doing two things here, overview and then main features. Summarize, simple. Focus on main ideas and don't bring in examples. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, dear teachers, now we have to go in details. But in each case, when you see the action verb, what should be at the back of your mind is the definition of that particular word, so that you know what to give, what to write, what to answer. Outline, so that's the action verb. Outline points that may give initial indication of a positive school culture. So you're just outlining those points. But what is critical here? Positive school culture. Discuss the functions of the principal to create a coaching or mentoring culture in schools or in school. As a teacher, you don't want to be a teacher forever. You are aiming for promotion. One day you become head of department. You are climbing the ladder. The next day or the next year, you are a school principal. So now here, you should be able to discuss the functions of the principal or the school principal in order for the principal to create, because each principal wants to create a culture in school which is beneficial for the school and staff members and the whole school community. Explain the importance of a vision statement of a school. Believe you me, whether you are in urban areas or rural areas, your school has a vision. There should be a vision. Why is it very important? Why is it important to have a school vision? Vision or statement of a school. Analyze the extrinsic subcategories of rewards. Schools do have the reward system of rewarding its teachers, its staff members. So this question is asking you to analyze the extrinsic subcategories, because the categories of rewards. Analyze the administration of a learner feedback system. Learner feedback system. You are analyzing. Remember, analyzing is not like naming or mention or giving. It's a higher critical area of thinking when it comes to Bloom taxonomy. So therefore here you should be able to give a detailed and well organized answer, because it says analyze the administration of a learner feedback. What is important, what is critical here is to analyze, and then what is being analyzed? Feedback, learner feedback system. Explain the induction of a new teacher. Induction. When a teacher comes to a certain school for the first time, let's say these people from the university, so they need induction. They need to be taken through the policies of the Ministry of Education, the school rules, the way of doing, the cultural way of doing things, not the culture in terms of culture of the society, is the culture of the school. How do they do things? When do they have the school, the morning assembly? When do, all this, the person has to be taken through. So you should now be able to explain the induction of a new teacher. Some schools, a teacher comes at a school, new from the university, just been given a class. Okay, you are going to teach agriculture or English or biology in this class, or you are going to teach life science or life skills, but the person has never gone through induction. So induction is very important. So therefore you must be able to explain the induction of a new teacher. What should it entail? Who should do it? When should be done? Etc. Outline the points that are vital for the purpose of performance management. The performance management, it plays a major role at schools, at any school these days. So what are the points that are vital when it comes to the purpose of performance management? Explain the purpose of this is what we have dealt with previously. Moving on to the next one, analyze the benefits of providing ongoing feedback. You know, if for example you are teaching and you are not getting any feedback from whoever your supervisor is, you won't know whether you are doing the right things the right way or not. But if the feedback is being given every time that the head of the department comes in your class and then maybe evaluate your teaching, or the principal, and you get feedback, you'll be able to improve where in the areas that you are not doing well for the next presentation of the lesson, if you are given feedback. So feedback is very important. Here it said you should be able to analyze the benefits of providing ongoing feedback. Outline key principles of providing effective ongoing feedback. Here is the principles. The first one is the benefits. What are the principles? Now here you are just outlining, and remember in the previous one, we are analyzing the benefits, but here you are simply giving the outline. Explain how learners benefit directly from mentoring. Do the learners also benefit? Yes, they do, but in which way? So you must be able to say, how do learners benefit directly from mentoring, the mentoring that's being done? You must be able to state strategic game plan that schools depend on in terms of mentoring. The game plan, strategic game plan, it's just a matter of stating when it comes to mentoring. You must also be able to explain how a successful mentoring culture benefits the school. If it's successful mentoring, how does the school benefit in that way? So please explain. Here you are explaining. As a student of this subject, assessment and teaching and assessment mentoring, B, you must be able to outline the internal structure that should a school have in order to support a successful mentoring culture. What are the internal structure that should be in place that should be able to help for a school to have a successful mentoring culture? Evaluate the requirements that have to be considered when designing a successful mentoring program, because a mentoring program should be, planned. It should be designed with the purpose of excelling. So now what you need to do, you should evaluate the requirements that should be in place. You must be able to discuss the components that are characteristics of a school culture. What are those components? Discuss those components in your study guide. But remember, you are discussing. You are not just simply naming them. You are discussing the components that are characteristics of a school culture. Analyze possible barriers for creating a coaching culture in a school. Because you want, as a teacher, as a principal, as a head of department, you want to create the coaching culture in the school. But there are always barriers. What are the possible barriers that might hinder? You should analyze them. That might hinder for the coaching culture to take place at a school. So you should be able to analyze them. What are they? Analyze. The next one says, give examples of types of intrinsic rewards and discuss each. Types of intrinsic rewards. What are they? Give examples. Discuss each of them. Very important. Evaluate ways of obtaining information from learners. Because there should be ways of obtaining information that are needed by the school, that are needed by the teacher, needed by the school management. So you must be able to evaluate these ways that you can utilize, that you can employ, that you can put in place in order to obtain information of any kind from, from the learners. Then there comes the listing. Here you simply list the important factors of good teaching. What are they? Because if you're talking about teaching, as a teacher you must know what is good teaching. But what we are looking for here are the factors, the important factors. Simply list them. You must also be able to highlight the activities that encompasses performance management. The activities. What are those activities that can be connected or that can be brought into spotlight when it comes to performance management? There must be activities, so you should be able to give them. You should also be able to discuss why it is important to manage performance management. Is it very important? Yes, definitely it's important. Now discuss why. Why should we manage performance management? Remember, at schools, schools are expected to perform, and they are rated. They are rated in such a way that, okay, your performance now, it has improved. This year it's 90%. This year, next year we want you to be at 100, and so forth. Discuss phases of performance management. There are phases of performance management. What are they? You should be able to discuss them. As much as the schools are trying by all means to make sure that they have things in place, they want to perform and do much better so that the learners can pass and then proceed to the next level. There is always a resistance from teachers. Explain why teachers resist. Why are they resisting? There must be reasons why teachers resist performance management that are said. Present the characters needed for effective ongoing feedback. What are the characters that are needed in order to make sure that the ongoing feedback is effective? Explain what self-assessment allows teachers to do. So if you are a teacher, after every lesson you reflect and say, okay, what went wrong? What went right? How do I improve this next time? So that's why the question comes. Explain why self-assessment allows teachers to do. There should be a platform where teachers are doing self-assessment. They are assessing themselves and see, okay, this went well, this went right, how to improve this next time, for one benefit, just to make sure that the learners at the end of the day, because these are our prime focus as teachers, our prime focus is the well-being of the learners, that they are given the necessary skills, the necessary knowledge, so that they can progress in their lives and pass well. Evaluate the relationship between mentorship and performance management. How are they related? You must be able to give that evaluation. The relationship between mentorship and performance management. What is the relation between the two phenomena? Outline the characteristics that mentors should possess. A mentor should possess certain characteristics. Just outline them. You must be able to outline those characteristics. Ladies and gentlemen, dear teachers, you must also be able to outline the benefit of school audits. School audits, very important. Present key areas of auditing. Key areas of auditing. Why auditing? Describe a school with a good culture. When can we say this school has good culture? What are we looking at? You must be able to give the description of what a good school culture, school culture is, or a school with good culture is. Outline topics that contain, or that training session for mentors should cover. There must be topics, because mentoring cannot, okay, of course it can cover various aspects, but there should be topics that should be, the concentration should be on. Somebody should pay attention to that. That, okay, if I am going to do mentoring, so these are the topics that mentoring or training sessions should cover. Discuss the functions of the principal to create coaching or mentoring culture in school. The function of the principal. The principal has a huge responsibility when it comes to coaching and mentoring in a particular school, that he is a principal. So you must be able to discuss the function of the principal in dealing with this. Ladies and gentlemen, you should also be able to establish the goals of an interaction program, because a program, when the program of interaction is being designed, there are goals that somebody or the school or the mentor should be able to fulfill at the end of the day. What are the goals of an induction program at a given school? Ladies and gentlemen, you should be able to outline practices of effective learning for a good induction program. For an induction program to be called good, there should be practices that can be employed, that should be taken into an account. You must also be able to describe performance management. You give it, what is it? If you are talking about performance management, we've been speaking about it, performance management and resistance by the teachers. What is it? Give a description. You are not defining it, but you are describing what the performance management is. You must also be able to explain ways to be taken into an account to reduce resistance to performance management, because we said the teachers do resist. They do resist, but there must be a way. There must be ways to be taken into consideration. There must be ways that can be considered, that can be employed to make sure that the resistance to performance management is reduced, because we cannot sit and relax if the teachers are resisting, but we should find ways of, reducing and making sure that there is no much of the resistance to performance management. Of course, it will be there, it will definitely be there, but it needs to be reduced for the school to perform or to reach its goals and targets. Ladies and gentlemen, you should also be able to present reasons why assessment tools can be of value to the teacher. We spoke about self-assessment. Is it very valuable? Why is it valuable to a teacher? We spoke about performance, improvement. Teachers should do self-assessment for them to be able to see where they are going right, where they are going wrong, how to improve next time, and so forth. Discuss organizational dimensions of peer learning. And I have embarked on this. I said, it's good if you are a teacher and you are preparing for exam or you are preparing for assignment, come together and learn from one another. And this is also something that once you have learned how to interact with your colleagues that you are studying with, you bring this in the classroom again, so that you employ the strategies of learners to do peer learning when you are giving them group work or you are giving them pair work and so forth in the classroom. So why is it important? So you must be able to discuss the organizational dimensions of peer learning. Explain the benefits of parent mentoring. Oh, okay. Not only mentoring should not only be on teachers. After all, it says benefits of parent mentoring. So it's also needed in a school environment. Outline the benefits of parent mentoring. There is the explanation. Here now you are just outlining them. Outline the guidance or the guideline for effective employee recognition. This is very, very vital. Employees want to be recognized. If the teachers, if you are the school principal and the teachers, okay, they are trying by all means, they are going extra miles away to give lessons even on the weekends just to make sure that they perform, and they are not being recognized. They are not getting that recognition that, okay, for job well done. I know it's their, we know, everyone knows, it's their job to make sure that their learners perform, their subjects are well performed and they get good simples. But they need recognition. How? For example, giving them awards, a certificate, a tap on the shoulder. That will do a lot. They need to be recognized. So there should be guidelines for effective employee recognition. Name practices for effective learning that a good induction program should be. We are talking about the practices. Just name effective learning in terms of good induction program. Explain mentoring strategies that can be employed to assist teachers with their task. Mentoring strategies that someone can use in order to help the teachers with their task that they are doing on a daily basis, starting from the lesson planning, interaction with learners in the classrooms, and so forth. So what are the strategies? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this presentation. I would like to thank you so much. I would like to request you to prepare thoroughly for examination and assignments. You should revise all the units. You have a lot of units in your books. Revise all of them. Don't be selective. Look at all of them. And once more, ladies and gentlemen, you must go back to the verbs. Those action verbs are very important because they will help you to understand what the question is asking. And you should always give the precise answer what is asked. But you can only give the precise answer if you understand what each verb means. Utilize the experience that you have. If you are a teacher, you are a principal, you are a head of department, you are an inspector of education, utilize that experience that you have acquired so far. It doesn't matter how many years you have been in the teaching fraternity, be it 1 year, a month, and so you have acquired the experience. When you are answering the questions, you should utilize the experience that you have acquired so far. And would like to ask you, from experience, when I'm marking, I'm seeing blank questions, unattended questions. There's nothing like the question is difficult until when we have attempted to answer that question. So please don't leave any question unattended. Consult some other sources. Don't only limit yourself to the study guide that's given to you by Iol. You should consult some other sources for knowledge expansion and skills, because teaching is it's a career that needs creativity. All the best of luck. You can consult me, you can call me on my mobile. My mobiles are 0811480977 or 0812531801. You can also reach me on my email. Drop me an email. And calling, please, it's 8 to 17 on weekdays only. Don't call at awkward hours, 10 o'clock in the evening. And yeah, I would like to say thank you so much for paying attention. Best of luck, and enjoy your study and enjoy teaching. Thank you very much.